And welcome to the Culture Exchange podcast. My name is Frauke.
Hello everyone, my name is Marie-Christine. Together we are hosting this podcast for the international community, where we talk about living and working abroad, expat life, and welcoming special guests who share their expertise.
With our Culture Exchange podcast, we are providing a platform regarding the topics of culture, identity, and belonging to raise awareness and give insights on how to navigate the challenges and opportunities of a multicultural life.
Join us on our journey around the world. In this episode, we're diving into a topic that affects all of us, especially those of us who live internationally and constantly navigating cultural differences. We talk about neuroscience to understand how our brains shape the way we connect or disconnect.
And together we explore how the brain contributes to polarization, division, and bias. And more importantly, how we can use science-backed tools to reconnect and rebuild empathy, both in everyday life and across cultures.
Our guest today is Dr. Mai Nguyen, a renowned expert at the intersection of neuroscience, culture, and leadership. Mai is a former associate professor turned consultant and keynote speaker, known for helping people understand how our brains shape the way we connect or disconnect across differences. She's the founder of Culture Move and has spoken at events like the Forbes Women's Summit and trained leaders at global companies like PwC, Bosch, and Johnson & Johnson.
Her academic background includes a PhD in intercultural communication and a master's degree in applied neuroscience from King's College London. She also holds a master's in educational technology. Mai's work emphasizes understanding how the brain processes culture, bias, and belonging. She advocates for a dynamic view of culture, suggesting that context and neuroplasticity play significant roles in shaping cultural identity. She's the author of Cross-Cultural Management with insights from brain science, offering practical applications of neuroscience in leadership and organizational contexts. Mai, thank you so much for being on our Culture Exchange podcast today. Welcome.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Frau. Thank you, Marie. It's my honor to be here. So looking forward to our conversation.
Mai, thank you. So let's start. Can you introduce yourself and share what inspired your focus on the intersection of neuroscience and intercultural communication and social polarization?
That's a lot of things you just mentioned, right?
Let's start part one.
Yeah. So people often ask me the question, so what are you? Yes. Neuroscience or intercultural communication or international business or what? So, I started my career as a journalist and I love writing and that's very, very much transforming into what I'm doing right now in a natural way. And long story short, you mentioned that I was former associate professor at Amsterdam University of Applied Sciences. And then I discovered that there was such a thing as neuroscience. So I decided to stop being a professor. And I asked my boss to support me for 3-year studies in neuroscience at King's College London. And it was amazing because, it's the power of interdisciplinaries. It's the power of combining things together. This is my first podcast that there are 2 hosts. How amazing is that?
You use that a lot. Yes, I know.
So, what I was about to say is that it's like painting a picture of reality. But if you have a disciplinary perspective. It's like painting a picture with colors. It's more realistic, right? It reflects you. It reflects a much better, a much truer way of life, and that's what I really like.
Oh, I like that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And what about polarization? First of all, would you mind to explain the term a little bit? Because it feels like a growing global phenomenon. And maybe also from a neuroscience perspective, what exactly happens in our brains when we become polarized?
Yeah. Well, that's a big question. So let's just, slow down a little bit. I mean, what is polarization? Yes. There are two kinds. I mean, there are many, but there are two main kinds you have. But the things that we are trying to talk about and the thing that I really want to share with you and our audience today is called emotional or affective polarization. So it's not really about Marie has this point of view, and Frau has this point of view, and Mai has this point of view, and we are so different from each other, and we really do not agree at all. It's not that. It's about, well, we have different points of view, but beyond that, I believe that Frau does not like me. It's not about my point of view. It's about me as a person. Well, Marie and I have a different perspective, but I truly believe that Marie hates me. So that's the kind of affective polarization that is so dangerous right now that we are trying to tackle, that we are trying to figure out what is really going on and in what way we can minimize it, because polarization is a thing. I mean, it has been there for a long time. It's just right now it has become very, very much obvious, and it's causing a lot of damage, especially in our field, diversity and inclusion. Yeah, do you feel like that? I mean, like, it's not really about this different perspective, but it's about the person, right? It's very personal.
Yeah, totally. I mean, sorry to jump in. No, but I totally agree. Like, just perceiving the world around me on a daily basis, right? So that we are like in an era of division that actually continues to grow over time. And I think it's always, or there is a tendency that it's always us versus them, right? So it's really about dividing societies. And I think what's quite interesting is that we always had different opinions, maybe, but we always concluded like, okay, we agree to disagree. But right now it seems that this is not longer possible, that we become more polarized, and that well, let's say like civil debates about issues we disagree on are no longer possible, right? So because it's not just about different codes of values, it's about that we speak about different facts.
I like that. I like the way that you put it. It's not really about different perspective. It's about different fact, because right now we have, like fake news, and we don't know what is the real fact anymore. I mean, if you keep repeating lies, we will eventually believe that the lie is a fact, right?
Right.
So that is why, well, we may jumping a little bit, really forward right here, but I can offer right away something that we've been talking a lot in my training is about debate. What do you think? Does debate work? Do you think that debating is a good way for us to use fact to fight polarization? That's what I'm asking the participants in my training, and the answers are everywhere. But what do you think? If you look at the debates on TV, I mean, the political debates, what kind of emotion do you have?
Yes.
I think people take like different opinions personal. So it's really not about the debate, the topic itself. It's really about the person who is debating with me.
Personal.
And it's really about personal matters now.
Maybe offended. Exactly.
People are reacting in an emotional way, right? That's it. It's not about the facts anymore. It's just, okay, you have that opinion, I have a different one, but it's fine.
No. And I mean, you're spot on. And also, I mean, I'm not even talking about political debate on TV. I'm even talking about what we consider as an important way to acquire knowledge at school. I mean, I don't know about you, but I went through school thinking that debate and knowing and practicing debates as a way to acquire knowledge, it was encouraged when I was at school,
Yeah.
you know. And
Yeah.
I myself, as a professor, we organize a lot of debates in the class. But now I've realized, I mean, after studying neuroscience, I've realized that, hey, wait a minute. What is the purpose of debate? What is that? I mean, they want to win,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
right? You want to win, you want to fight, you want to destroy the others, no matter what. The aim of the debate is not to have a conversation, it's the opposite. The aim of the debate is not to have a constructive dialogue
Yeah.
or to find a solution. It's trying to prove that I'm wrong and I'm right and you are wrong, right? So when you think about that, I mean, I have a very good study here. I remember, let me 84% of the people, this one is in America, 84% of the people in the United States think that our debates are much less respectful these days. So it's about, yes, it's not about the debate, it's about the quality of debate. It's really affecting us and it's really causing polarization. Yes. And we don't really have a good quality debate. And think about that. How logical it is. You want to convince others. I want to convince Frauke. I want to convince Marie that while my perspective is valid, but instead of trying to have a dialogue with you to understand your fear, to understand your emotion, your story, your experience, instead I'm trying to name calling you.
I know.
I'm trying to curse you. I'm trying to make you look like an evil.
Yeah. But I think that's also when a big factor plays here a role, like this intercultural understanding as well, or where's the other person from, or, you know, to actually read the fine lines and understand why they might react or be offended or not. So this is like what everyone experienced every day. So this is also what happens so often in debates, right?
Yeah. And I think we have a very different way of evaluating what is a good debate. A good debate is that one is, you know, winning, a clear winning. So, I mean, debates is, I think it's a bad quality of debates. It's a very, very important factor that make polarization worse. And then we understand that right away. The underlying emotion is fear. The underlying emotion is anger. The underlying emotion is that I want to crush you. I'm angry. You are evil. So it's really about the earth, them, you know, what you just said.
Yeah.
The earth versus them, the in-group, out-group mechanism that's happening in our brain. And it's getting nowhere.
What do you mean by this, by in-group, out-group?
It's a very, it's a very, it's a little bit technical, right? Term in intercultural communication and diversity inclusion. It's about the way that we think that this is not about perspective. This is not about an opinion. It's about this group or my group against your group. You're not Frauke anymore. You're not Marie anymore. You are two, you know, women from Germany, and I'm here, with all the other people from Australia, you know, and then it's your tribe and it is my tribe. It's
about tribalism, right?
Exactly. It's the tribal way of thinking that if you exist, and I'm not. If you're surviving, then I'm not. So it's existential threat.
Yeah.
And again, the underlying emotion is fear. So we've been talking a lot about fear, and I mentioned this quite a bit in my training because people also in the context when we talk about polarization is that we talk about fear as if it's something very negative. It's not. I don't know about you, but from a neuroscientist point of view, fear is very important for our survival. I mean, like if you If you see that the outside, I mean, it's storming and, something dangerous is coming, trees are falling, you wouldn't want to go out, right? You want to stay inside. So fear is something that keeps you alive.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
and it's
A survival tool for sure, right? Just to
exactly.
be aware of the environment and about threats or things that might happen out there. So, yeah, it
Exactly.
keeps us alive.
Absolutely. So, I mean, we have to recognize that fear is one of the most, I'm not sure, but it's probably one of the most, that's a little bit more objective. It's one of the most important emotion that keeps us alive. And we have to recognize that if we do not have fear, we wouldn't be surviving as a human being at all. So the brain looks out for bad news. The brain looks out for the weakest link. And it's really important because you can have a lot of positive things, a lot of good, happy moments in your life, but just one single negative event. And if you ignore that single negative event, then it can lead to death, right? So fear has always been the motivation for people to figure out who's our in group and who's the other out group, So, and the brain has mistrust as the default state. And if we recognize this, then we can try to understand, oh gosh, this person, he or she hates me, but what must have happened to them, to this person?
Okay. Okay.
What kind of fear that underlies this hatred, this dislike, that bring the experience and into this kind of situation between us. And I think if we could think about that, switch our mind in that way, then it is a very, very important method for us to understand polarization and to get, at least to find a way out of it.
So, do you think that digital media, social media, I mean, everybody seems to be hooked these days, affect our brains' polarization patterns?
Absolutely. I mean, we can just compare to the time when we didn't have social media, we didn't have Instagram and TikTok and Facebook. If I do not like someone, I have to go somewhere, right? To talk about that person or to talk about that idea. Right now, instead of talking, put it this way, Frauke and I, we have something that we disagree with each other. Now, I normally would have to knock on your door and say, hey, Frauke, I mean, I do not agree with you on this. Let's talk about this. Or if I'm very, very angry with you, I can try to do something a little bit more brutal. But now with social media, yes, now with social media, what do? I don't knock on your door. Suppose we live in the same building. I open my window and I scream out for the whole building to hear. That's what social media is doing for us. It takes away the privacy. It takes away the personal connection. It takes away the human way of being in contact with each other. It takes away the human way of trying to solve the problem. And instead of trying to solve a problem in a sense-making way, I'm trying to make a brutal war with you in front of everybody else. So it's not about you and me anymore. It's about the people that you belong to and the people that I belong to. So that's one thing. The second thing that social media is making polarization much worse is that, let's say without social media, we disagree with each other. I will have to try really, really hard to find someone that agrees with me, right? And try to create a group of these are the people who support my, right? And then trying to go against you. However, right now I don't have to do that anymore. I can just post anything on social media. And instantly, I will have supporter. Instantly, I will have my tribe. Instantly, I will have the people that belong to, the idea that I propose, the tribe that I can belong to. And we will wage a war on you in a second. You post anything on Facebook, anything on TikTok, anything on Instagram, no matter how crazy the idea is, you will have supporters on anything.
Yeah. So this is basically you're happy. That's like because you get likes, you have the followers or whatever, so that you feel like you have your tribe, you have your community, and positive feelings. But then on the other side, when you're someone just looking at social media and just get influenced, what happens with the brain?
I came across this terminology the other day. It was called what is that? The false reality. The false reality of following political debate or polarization. Because the thing is that, and this is important, let me try to put it in a way. The thing is that when you look at people who debate and who follow political issues, they seem to be deeply involved. They know, so they seem to know a lot. They talk about that all the time. They post about that all the time. And you may have, like what Marie just said, you may have the false idea that this is what I should behave. This is what it means to be politically involved. This is what it means to be someone that knows about politics. And then you doubt yourself, like, oh gosh, do I know enough? Am I knowledgeable? Is my voice even, valid? Should I say anything? So you have a very different view of what is out there and who you are. And the false reality is that you mistake people who are deeply involved, people who are fanatic, people who are over passionate as a role model of this is what you should behave. This is what you should, connect and talk about politics. And I think that's quite negative if I understand you or if I go along that line with you.
Interesting.
When we apply our thoughts right now, or your thoughts, your argumentation, when we apply it to the cross-cultural field, so what are techniques that can help reduce bias and foster more understanding across these divides based on polarization? So because you are researching like this intersection, and of course we are very interested in the cross-cultural field as well. So when we apply it, what does it mean and how can we depolarize us?
Yeah. There are many, so we don't know how much time we have for this, but I'm going to share with you just very, very basic and strongly supported by science until this moment. The first thing is about debate. I really think that we should reconsider debate, not just in educational context, but also in the political atmosphere. Like how and in what way should we, if we really need to have a debate, how and in what way we should organize that so we have a good quality debate that is not going to create hostile feeling. I have this really important study that I often share with with the participant in my training. It's about the 3 videos. Let me try to remember correctly. So there are 3 videos. One is about Earth, so such nature, and the other is about abortion, and the third one is about a political debate. And the people are lying on the brain scanners and they are watching these videos. And then the neuroscientists look at their brain and see which video is creating the highest level of polarization. And I'm asking, so when I show the people this study, I also ask them, which one do you think? Which one do you think? Which video would cause the highest level of polarization? The nature video, the abortion video, or the political debate?
political debate, I would say.
I would go for abortion, but okay.
Yeah. So the thing is that people would normally go for these two, but the fact is that these two topics are among the most polarized issues. I would say equally, right? The only difference in these two videos is that with the abortion video, the tone of the language is very neutral. And the one about the political debate is never neutral, right? It's never, ever. So they look at the brain of the people and they found out that with the political debate, people have the highest level of polarization. It's not about the topic, it's about how we bring in the topic, the kind of language that we use. So we are absolutely capable of comprehend different points of view. The polarization in our society is not caused by our differences, but it's more about how the data is presented.
Okay.
I mean, we can deal with our differences pretty okay. It's about how the kind of language that is being used. So again, I really think that we should reconsider debates. And when it comes to very sensitive, polarized issues, it's very important to adopt a neutral tone. As neutral, as objective, I wouldn't say scientific, but I mean, we have to try to find a way that is not going to make people feel like, oh, this is an attack on my personal value. This is an attack on my personal identity. You're not just talking about abortion, you're talking about my value. And I'm not going to compromise my identity. I'm not going to compromise my value because I have to try to look at the issue from your perspective. I cannot compromise myself, you know. So that's probably the first thing.
Yeah, but why do you think we react like this? I mean, what's the reason for it? As you mentioned, differences have been always there, and it's fine. We are different. We get it. How to get back to like a shared humanity? Because we only focus and concentrate on our differences, and we don't value what we have in common, actually. So, but why is it right now? Why is this tendency there?
Beyond my field, I mean, I'm applied neuroscience.
Maybe just your personal take on that. I'm just curious.
I mean, you're right. I mean, social media is one thing, and like we said, I mean, before that, I have to do a lot of things in order to show my opposition to you. But now it's so easy. Also, we are in an area of a new identity. You know, I read the other day that, but I may be wrong, but I have to re-emphasize that this is not my field. The other day I read a study about something called partyism. I am the member of this party, of this political party, and this identity has become stronger than race. Stronger than gender, stronger than religion, stronger than nationality. We are creating many new identities, and member of a political party has become a very powerful vehicle for us to express ourselves. And we can see that we cannot escape politics at all in our everyday life. So I think it's probably one way to explain why we are having this. And also, you know, the whole political system is creating or is designed in a way that we have to make a choice, and we have to be radical in order to have our voice heard.
And maybe, I mean, that's just my 2 cents. Maybe because the world is so fast-paced and crazy around us, or it turned crazy, that we just really want to interact in bubbles and with people who have similar thoughts, maybe just to like echo chambers.
Yeah. Oh, you're right. You're absolutely right. Now I've come back a little bit to my field. One very important thing that we polarize, are we trying to make sure that the world is simple enough is that because what is out there is so complex. What is happening around us is so complicated. And one way for the brain to make sure that we can survive and move on is that, okay, it is too complex. Let's make it just black and white. Let's make it just a few choices, and then we can move on. So we can, get on with life. And I think that is so, so important. You are absolutely right. We are looking at the world and we are a little bit scared. And one way of trying to simplify the world is to make sure that it is just us and them, just a few we are good, they are bad, we are right, they are wrong. This is moral, that is evil. That's one way for us to survive. Yeah.
Interesting. I have a question. I want to go back actually to bias as well. You mentioned that, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm more curious about like what are there any practical tools or exercises from neuroscience or cultural work that actually help to reduce bias? Is there anything you could share?
Yeah. So we had one, so it's just about debate. There are
Yes.
many, but one thing that I'm really interested in, I think that is quite easy. We've been doing that already, and it is very, very strongly supported by neuroscience, is try to start with similarity.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not sure about you, but I've been in this field for 20 years, 20 something years, and I had a very, I'm so ashamed thinking about that. Many of those years I spent on talking about differences.
Yeah, I know,
Yeah.
I know.
I would start, hopefully nobody's doing that anymore. I would start my course, I would start my training with, okay, we are so different, and that is why we have this cultural clash, and that is why it's so dangerous. That's why you sit here and learn something. I mean, what I was doing was to prepare people for fear.
Okay.
True, yeah.
Yeah, to prepare people to consider others as potential danger. And it is completely understandable because, like many of us, I started with half state, I started with cross-country management. And I mean, the essence of cross-country management and the essence of cultural communication is that how we are different from each other, right? Yeah. But with
And then find tools to bridge it. Yeah.
Right. But with intercultural or interpersonal or diversity and inclusion, it's a completely different approach. I mean, and with neuroscience, you have to start with similarity. You have to start with in what way we are similar, in what way we share a very good foundation of humanity, a very good foundation of, oh my God, we have the same fear. Oh my gosh, we have the same value, which is, want it to be done in a different way. I mean, like, I want the world to be this way, and you want the world to be that way. But I mean, the foundation is the same. So in neuroscience, it's extremely important to start with how the kind of interest. I mean, sometimes it's very easy. It's just, okay, we like this music. Oh, they like the music as well. And then already the brain is working in sync with each other. I have a very, very good study to share with you. It's about convincing the opposition to spend more money on the military. Okay, so you have the conservative and you have the liberal. The conservative, fine, spending on the army is just fine because there's loyalty to the country, that respect for the authority, it's nationalism. Anyways, you don't really have to convince them that much, but you use that kind of lines. Now, how about you trying to convince people from the liberal side that spending money on the army is good, because normally they would say no.
Yeah.
Then you should have to find, okay, the comments, something that they share is that you have to focus on fairness. Put it this way. Yeah, put it this way. Well, the people the poor and the disadvantaged who join the army, they can achieve equal standing, So joining the army is a vehicle for them to gain upward mobility. So you see that it is really about trying to reframe and trying to find how and in what way we can find, something that we can agree upon. And I mean, in this study, if I remember correctly, is in the US again, people finally find something that, okay, then now we can spend more money on something, that they probably didn't agree with each other. But after reasoning with each other and say, okay, we both value loyalty, we both value fairness. So let's spend some more money. So that's one way.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if our goal is to bring back our humanity, what gives you hope that we can overcome polarization?
I think that's something that you already thought is already in your mind. It's neuroplasticity. We talk a lot about that. It's the ability of the brain to change. We are not fixed, not at all. Yeah. We are able to change. We are able to have a different point of view. We are able to even change the brain structurally. I'm not just talking about different thought or different opinion or different habit. I'm talking about the brain changing structurally. Some part getting bigger, some part getting smaller, just by having a repeated thought, a repeated practice, a repeated action, and being in a different context or different social situation repeatedly. And I think that's the hope that everybody should remember. I think.
So you mean, so Mai, you mean that our brain can unlearn biases and build new habits, correct?
Absolutely, absolutely. And this is supported by neuroscience. I mean, we can try to, it's easy. As easy as, if I remember correctly, there's a study, you can prompt, that's the word for it, you can prompt people by giving them a photo. Say you want to change their idea about women in technology or women in STEM. You give the people a photo in which women are working in STEM field, and then you ask them to do the bias test. And then just having that image in mind is the result of the bias test is already changing. Of course, it's just momentarily. It's not something that's going to last forever. But I think can you imagine that if you repeatedly live in an environment that you have role models, you have people around you reconfirming that kind of idea, then of course your brain is going to change.
And how can educators or teachers, leaders, or anybody actually apply these principles in real life settings? So talking about classrooms at school, workplaces, families, because it sounds quite easy how you explain it, but how can we explain it in our daily life?
Yeah, I think that's $1 million question. I mean, we can't not have one solution, right? I mean, but it comes down to this. It comes down to polarization is not really about different perspective. It's about emotion. It's about fear. It's about happiness. It's about anger. So if it's really about emotion, then you have to focus on the human being. You have to focus on the individual, right? So empathy. That's what we have to teach students. That's what we have to learn to practice in everyday situation. We have to learn that, okay, like I said, if someone is so radical, you have to think, what kind of fear that leads you to this situation? You sit down, you listen to their story, you listen to their fear, you listen to their uncertainty, you validate their experience without judgment, and you may find that very enjoyable talking to them, and you may find out that you have much more things in common than you thought. active listening, really important.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, you've been active listening to me the whole time. You know,
Yes.
very
active.
right? And storytelling. I mean,
Okay.
yeah, it's also supported by neuroscience. I mean, we are not designed to learn facts and figures.
Yeah.
PowerPoints, bullet points are killing us, literally. Yeah. We are designed, the brain is designed to listen to stories. I mean, long time, I mean, millions of years ago, our ancestors would sit around the campfire, listen to stories. We learn from stories. We are designed to learn through, personal experience. So it's really important that we put things in context.
So it's empathy, active listening, sharing
storytelling, focus
yeah.
on individual, focus on similarities. And then one more thing, contact, especially in this time of social media, is based on a very famous theory in social science. It's the contact theories, right? It's the more that you are in contact with a person, the more likely that you are going to agree with them, that the more likely that you are going to live or coexist in peace with them. I've done a few projects in Palestine that, between the two groups that seriously do not like each other at all, but just 1 or 2 weeks of living with each other, playing football with each other, and they left the camp feeling that, oh, I found my lifetime friends.
Interesting. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So it's about the contact. It's about trying to be with each other, and when you have the contact, but good quality contacts, right? It's not the kind of contact. Yeah. So
and getting out of your bubble, right? Just getting out and meeting people with different or diverse backgrounds. I think that's it. When you always stay in your bubble, and you probably don't have like this awareness that people, even though they're different, but you share whatever it is, you have to find out, you have to explore it. But I think that's probably a valuable journey if you find out, okay, we seem to be so different in many ways, but actually we all like cooking or whatever. So you just share something that you both like. I think that's it.
Yeah. Similarity first. First similarity, then we can talk about differences. If I figure out that all three of us have this foundation of similarities, then I can talk about differences with you without having the fear that my idea and my identity and my value are being attacked, so there has to be a good foundation first. So that is why I said a good quality contact is built on the foundation of humanity and similarities and shared values.
Okay.
And this is also a call to action for all educators and trainers, and as you mentioned, facilitators, right? Don't start with the differences.
Yeah.
Start with similarities. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're doing that. We are already doing it every day.
I also want to talk about this a little bit. I mean, comfort zone, yes. I mean, I'm now thinking more about our international audience. We have many listeners who live overseas, expats. You actually face this issue, bias, having problems. It's also part, like, sometimes you're not having the motivation, maybe you are in your bubble and you're comfortable and it's also challenging. Do you have a motivation actually to get out there and change as well, be open to a change as well? Yeah.
Good question. I don't know. I've never had that question before. I think for us it's easy, right? I mean, we are interculturalists. We meant to be interested. I mean, we are intrinsically and genuinely interested in other people. But for many people, I think, again, come back to like why they are not interested in differences. What kind of fear? What kind of judgment that they are scared? And again, it's not. I don't think it's fair for us to jump into some quick conclusion that, oh, because they are not motivated or because they are, exactly. So again, it comes back to the kind of personal experience, the kind of social context that have shaped them that way.
Yeah. So if listeners could do just one thing differently after hearing our joint episode, what would you want that to be?
Oh, that's a good question. You know what I'm looking right now? I'm looking at my laptop and I have a little sticker that I always have it right here in front of me next to the camera of my laptop. And it has 3 letters, OAK.
OAK.
Yeah. Yes. I always look at it. And if I send an email, I look at it.
Okay.
Yes. If I'm having some difficult emotion, I'm looking at it. Sometimes I have it written on my hand going into a meeting. O means observation.
Okay.
Yes. If I feel like, oh, I'm so angry. What an idiot.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, observe.
Observing first. Okay.
What is really going on, trying to take a breath. Oh, my body is, getting a little bit trembling, sweating. Okay, good. Okay, I'm acknowledging that I'm having a little bit of a feeling that is not really quite helpful, but I acknowledge that. I means analyze. I try to say, okay, so that's how I feel. Let's imagine the other person. Maybe that person is also very angry about me. Maybe that person has some reason to really think that I am also an idiot. Maybe that person has a reason to be angry with me as well. So, okay, now try to empathize, trying to, get out of this stupid ego that I'm having and see it from other perspective. If I go through that and I still have to act, I still have to send that stupid email, I still have to speak out in that meeting, I try to do it with kindness.
Okay, kindness.
Kindness, okay. Kindness kills everything.
Yes. Yeah, observation, analyze, and kindness. And normally I don't have to act on it. I don't have to send that email right away. I don't have to say something in that meeting. I don't have to have any action immediately. But if I can wait until that, and if I really have to do that, I do it with kindness, then much of the work has been done. Yeah, I'm thinking of having a tattoo on my arm as well. Like probably, okay, I have a really beautiful design. Oh, okay, and I'm gonna try to put it somewhere. It has saved me so many times.
Okay, thank you. And any of our listeners, where can they find you or get in contact with you? You have a website. What's the best?
Well, I do have a LinkedIn profile. LinkedIn/in Culture Move. So culture as in culture, move as moving. So, you have to, it's rooted in a story of training an elephant. So if you train an elephant, you try to have a chain attached to the legs of the elephant. And, when you take away the chain, the elephant will be so used to the kind of sphere that it has been raised, it wouldn't go away from that. I don't know if it's true or not, but you have to move in order to feel that you have a chain attached to your leg. And that's the story behind Culture Move. That's also the name of my training company. So that's my LinkedIn. That's my LinkedIn profile. Let's connect with each other there, I hope.
Yes.
Yeah.
Great.
Thank you.
Well, that was such a great episode. Thank you for all the insights.
Yeah.
It's so interesting.
Much food for thought, actually.
Yes, exactly.
And for reflection. So, no, but thank you so much for also sharing your expertise and your specific insight, just from a different angle, right? I think that's quite valuable as well.
Thanks so much. Really pleasure to be here. And hopefully I will have I've gained more knowledge from listening to other episodes in your channel as well. Looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks so much.
Thank you, Mai.
Thank you. Bye.